Okay, hope you're good. So we're going to shoot our next little video here on protein. So we've done some work here on carbohydrates and fats already. So protein being the third macronutrient. Um, Protein is obviously really, really important. And without it, our body composition would greatly suffer. So we do know that protein is an essential macronutrient. And within protein, if you imagine the amino acids being like little building blocks, okay, we need these 20 different types, if you like, or proteins are essential to us, but we have the essential amino acids and the non-essential ones, which basically means the essential ones that we have to find from food, from animal and plant sources, and the other 11 we can actually synthesize within our body, making them not essential. Okay, so obviously we still need them, but we don't. The terminology basically means that a non-essential amino acid we can synthesize inside our own body, and the 9 essential amino acids that we need to find outside of that, okay, we have to actually get from other food sources. Protein quality obviously is really important. So when considering your protein sources, we look at something called biological value. Okay, so we have complete proteins and their availability within that. So eggs being one of the most biologically available foods that you can get in terms of protein. So the biological value is based on the quantity of the essential amino acids. All right, contains so a food high in what's known as BV, okay, also known as complete protein, contains all 9 amino acids. All right, and these are often seen in animal and dairy products. So if you look to the left, you've got those complete proteins. Okay, on the left, and on the right, you've got your incomplete proteins. So what does protein do? And we know that when we consume different amounts of high quality protein, it has a whole load of benefits. All right, so here I've listed a few. So proteins provide building materials, which I said earlier, so like the building blocks for growth and repair. Proteins form a vital part of most of your body structure. So if you think about your skin, your nails, your hair, the cell membranes, obviously your muscles, teeth, bones, organs, ligaments, and tendons. Okay, all part of that. Proteins also facilitate numerous chemical reactions in the body, hugely important in terms of enzymes. Well, enzymes are proteins, okay, so we need them for that as well. Some proteins act as chemical messengers, okay, so they regulate body processes, and not all hormones are proteins, okay. Proteins assist the body in maintaining its resistance to disease by acting against foreign disease-causing substances, okay. So basically, our immune system relies on it. Proteins help regulate the quantity of fluids in different body compartments. Okay, so proteins also act as buffers to help maintain the normal acid-base concentrations in body fluids. Okay, proteins are also there and they move the required nutrients and other substances in and out of cells and around the body. Okay, protein lastly can be used to provide calories to help meet the body's needs. Okay, so fats being 9 calories per gram and protein and carbohydrates being 4 calories per gram. Okay. We also know that to digest some of the protein that we use, which it can take up to about around 30% of the protein intake that we do. So let's just say, for instance, we have 120 calories, if you like, of protein. Depending on the type of protein, it can actually take up to 30% of those calories. Yeah, so you might spend 40 calories of that 120 digesting it. Yeah, so it actually costs energy to digest the protein. So there is a bit of a debate as to how much protein we need daily. Obviously, it depends a little bit on the individual and how much activity you do and what type of activity you're doing. So the average intake is about 0.4 to 0.6 grams of protein per pound of body weight. All right. When you're trying to lose body fat, having a higher intake, calorie intake, calorie intake is important. But it is also really important to make sure that we, obviously, if we're in a deficit, that we have plenty of protein to preserve the lean body tissue that we've got, because that's really important in terms of keeping our metabolism high. The more lean tissue we've got, the better we're going to be at losing body fat at rest. How much protein do we need? So when we're building muscle, some studies look at between 0.8 and 1 gram per pound of body weight. Okay, now that can be quite high. Okay, some people only need 0.6, if you like. Others need a little bit more. So it just depends a little bit more on your on how your metabolism works and your current lean muscle. Elderly people, perhaps a little bit less, so 0.45 0.6 grams per pound of body weight. And finally, those recovering from injuries will benefit from a high protein diet, because we know that the white blood cells, and we mentioned already about the immune system, the white blood cells need more protein to help us with recovery. Okay. The dangers of a high protein diet, I guess, in some ways, no more dangerous than having a high fat or a high carb diet, because obviously having a really, really high fat diet, yeah, isn't going to be that good for you either, and neither is having a really, really high carb diet. Okay, so but protein is well talked about. People talk about that in terms of cardiovascular disease, but the reality is the quality of the protein is what you really want to be looking at. Okay, obviously if you're eating far too much that like of any macronutrient, there's going to be a problem. Okay, accurate research is what we need. Okay, there is no current known link to protein causing increased risk of coronary heart disease. There is no link to protein causing liver or kidney damage in healthy subjects. Okay, now you have to remember that if someone's predisposed to something like this, it's a bit like if somebody's got high cholesterol, they probably don't want to be eating a really high fat diet, okay, because it just pushes their cholesterol level up higher. But recent studies have actually shown a positive relationship between protein intake and bone health. Okay, so we do know that protein has many, many benefits. We have to be really careful with the research that we listen to, particularly when it's coming to sort of red meat and the differentiation between high quality red meat and processed red meat. Okay, so the difference between a grass fed a steak versus having a salami that's been put together with two or three different types of meat and all the fats and all the sulfites that go with it. Very different. Yeah, still classified, unfortunately, in the media as red meat, but it's not really because it's a processed food. It's not as nature intended it. Different types of protein sources, just so you're aware. You have animal protein sources, so on the right in the bold, or in most instances, apart from the salmon, for some reason, you have the number of grams of protein per 100 grams of weight. So 100 grams of tuna is going to give you nearly 30 grams of protein. The dark meat on a chicken is going to give you around 29 grams. Okay, the white meat is going to give you around 6 grams. So we can see there's a higher protein content in the dark meat. So on those, like the chicken thighs and the chicken drumsticks, as opposed to the breast. Okay, so we're getting more protein from the dark meat, and then obviously you can see the salmon, the lamb, and the pork chops, etc. on the way down there. Different protein sources from plant and dairy, because obviously not everybody eats meat. So here we have those different sources there. Okay, I'm not going to read them out, but you can see those. And that's it. Okay, hope you enjoyed that, and let us know if you have any questions, and we'll help you out.